Now, in life, almost everything we do is determined by the income we earn. Now, let's do a demonstration. The income you earn determines the type of food you eat or where you eat. The income you have determines the type of house you live on. Maybe you have built a house or you have rented an apartment. Maybe you are living in a 1-bedroom house, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, and so on and so forth. The income you have decides the type of clothes you wear or where you shop. Maybe Mr. Price, maybe Gucci, Louis Vuitton, all those, or second-hand clothes, like Think Twice. Okay, so we found that the income we earn determines the type of food we eat. Either you order ready-made food, or you carry packed lunch to the office, to the job, or you go to a hotel and eat there. The income we have determines the house we live in, the type of house. Maybe you can break down to maybe the things that are in the house, materials used to build the house. Maybe chandeliers, maybe furnished house. Maybe you can buy a furnished house. Yeah. The income we have determines the types of clothes we wear. Now, this income, remember that you are working so that you can get this income. Now, what happens if you are no longer at work? Maybe let's say you are ill, or by bad luck, someone passes away. Now their family was depending on them. They were working so that they can get income to support their family. Or even they have other dependents. You know, we are in Africa. Black tax is real. There are so many people. Maybe the person, the breadwinner, is supporting back in the village, or even in Nairobi, living in the same house, or they need financial support every other day. Now, if this income stops, it will affect all this. The income stops, it affects the type of food you eat. Maybe you are eating in a 5-star hotel. Now, the income has stopped. There is a high chance you'll degrade, you'll move down the ladder from eating in the 5-star hotel to maybe looking for cheaper options. Now, the income has stopped. You are living in a big mansionette. You are in financial distress. There is a high probability you'll sell that house and look for cheaper options. Or if need arises, maybe there are a lot of problems you face, you risk moving back to the village in order to survive. Now, the income you earn determines the clothes you wear. Maybe you are buying Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and all those fancy, luxurious clothes out there. Now, the income stopped. Will you be able to sustain yourself buying those fancy clothes you were buying before? Now, we have a rule of thumb to protect all this. For cars, people take life insurance to protect the car. Some may say, yeah, in Kenya, life insurance is mandatory. Car insurance is mandatory. You need to have a certificate of insurance on your windscreen before even the car gets out of the showroom. Some countries' health insurance is mandatory. But there is nowhere in the world that life insurance is mandatory. Now, the tax bill is written by the rich for the rich. And people, smart people, know how to use loopholes legally to their advantage, to leverage the loopholes, to reduce the liabilities. Now, for all this, we need to secure your income and your assets. Assume that you have a goose that lays golden eggs, and you need to save one of them, either the goose or the golden eggs. Which one will you save? There is a high probability you will save the goose, because even if the eggs maybe spoil or they are stolen, the goose will still lay golden eggs. Now, you are the goose now, and the eggs is your income and your assets. Now, what happens if you stop getting the income? Maybe you are ill. How prepared are you to face the world? Will those assets you have be able to sustain you in the long run? We need to protect the goose. You are the goose because you are laying the golden eggs. Now, what is the rule of thumb for this? The rule of thumb for protecting all your assets, your income, are you need to have 5 times the annual income as income protection. Income protection covers illnesses, critical conditions, up to 19 critical illnesses like surgery, heart attack, stroke, surgery, paralysis, kidney failure, all those. It is a 2-in-1 product to have. It covers critical illness and legacy transfer. Maybe you are the breadwinner of your family. Have you ever thought that how will your family live when you are not there? By bad luck, maybe you fall ill, or maybe you pass on. How will your family be able to live? Will they be able to sustain themselves in the long term? 10 years, 20 years? Or will they have to sell all the assets and relocate back to the village in order to survive? Another thing, we need to have life cover. Now, the rule of thumb suggests that we have 10 times the annual income as life cover. This is enough coverage. We usually have under coverage, under insurance. In my opinion, it is better to be over insured than to be underinsured. Because if you are underinsured, you risk getting exposed. For example, you are diagnosed by a critical condition. Now, you insured yourself with 5 million shillings. The hospital bill came to 8 million shillings. Now, what happens in this situation? You risk going back to your assets. Maybe you have a piece of land somewhere. You'll probably sell it at a discounted price because you are desperate, you want money. that will be a disadvantage to you. Desperation lowers the value of assets. Death lowers the value of assets. Divorce lowers the value of assets. In land, we usually talk about location. That, look for a good location. But we forget to look about the 4 Ds. The first D, divorce. When the ex-spouses have divorced, they usually rush to offload, to sell the assets in order to divide the money amongst themselves. This hurry in disposing of assets is what degrades the value of the property. Another thing, this is divorce. This is death. For example, by death, people have a lot of information. Information spreads like wildfire in today's society. Somebody knows, okay, in that house, there's somebody, they have a burial. They have hospital bills to pay. They are desperate, they need cash. People know that. Maybe they are not covered fully. Potential people to buy the property or land come. They have an upper advantage, higher bargaining power than you, because they know you need the money. The last thing is desperation. Okay, desperation can also be, maybe you have a piece of real estate you need to dispose, or land. The land is not fully or well maintained. It will automatically reduce the value of the property. Somebody comes, you want to sell your house. Maybe you are looking for money to maybe fund hospital bills, maybe by bad luck. You want to sell the house in order to pay the hospital bills. Somebody comes to your land or your house, they come, they see the tiles are all over broken. That automatically reduces the value of the asset or land. The land is not well maintained. We should stop focusing on location alone. Location is not enough for valuation of land. Of course, there is location, prime location, okay. There is also divorce, desperation, and death. Those 3 factors also determine the value of land. People do their own research. Technology has advanced nowadays. People know. Somebody goes to the chief. Okay, they know. This family has a burial, maybe, by bad luck. They know how they can counter you. Because they know you are in need. Now, another thing. 20% of your salary should go to your retirement. Unfortunately, in Africa, we don't plan for retirement. Okay, I'll do that in another video. 5% of the salary should go to education. Now, a lot of us, we treat our parents as emergency. You've been there. You saw your kid being born. Why should you wait till you hear that your kid tells you, Mom or Dad, we are opening school tomorrow or Monday. Today is Friday. You start rushing up and down. You knew all along you have a child to take to school. Monday, fees has to be paid to the school. It is Friday. You start running up and down looking for loans. The loan you'll take, you'll probably pay back the loan plus the interest. Now, why shouldn't you start planning early for your kids' education? Why are you treating your kid like an emergency? Your kid's education plan should be equal to their age. Yes, your kid is 1 year old. The education plan should also be 1 year old. We need to be proactive creatures in this country. The biggest problem we have as citizens in this country is we are reactive. We wait for catastrophe to happen so that we can start running up and down desperation, causing a lot of queues in banks, a lot of loading times in the websites, maybe in the loan apps. So, you can DM me, we talk more about these ones. How we can secure your income and your assets. You are the goose which lays golden eggs. And we need to protect the goose so that it can lay more eggs. Now, what happens if you're employed and by bad luck you fall ill? It takes you a long time to recover. There is a high probability you will be retrenched. Now, will that income you have somewhere be able to sustain you in the long term until you find another job? Okay, reflect about it. And right now is the right time to start taking action. There are things that you can control. We should stop crying about the economy. We can control such things in your life, in our lives, in the society, in the country. You can DM me. We do a need analysis on this and find a better solution that can suit you, solve any problem you have, as we aspire to be financially stable and secure.